in studio, we have Justinah Mwang'ombe. She is a senior superintendent of prisons attached at Shimo Bostal Institution and Boys Education Center in Mombasa County. Now, she has served at Wundanyi Women Prison, Kamai Bostal Institution, that's the only female facility for juvenile girls, Machakos Women Prison, and Busia Women Prison in different leadership categories.
Justinah Mwang'ombe, as he earlier said, is a correction officer, both practicing in Kenya and Africa. Apart from being in charge of Shimo Bostal Institution here in Kenya,
yes,
I also practice with the International Institute for Justice and the Rule of Law as a juvenile detention practitioner.
Yes,
where I advise, I develop material together with other experts on protection of children in a counter-terrorism contest.
Oh.
And then with the UN, the International Peace Support Training Center based in Kenya, Karen, I train, advise, and also help develop material for protection of children in a post-conflict environment. So my work runs Kenya and beyond. So what moved me to go this way, the correction way, and not the finance and the rest, based on whatever I learned in my undergrad? I did economics, postgrad, master. I also pursued economics. I came out with a second upper. I also have my own brand, Iron Sharpens Iron, Mama Africa Initiative, where I empower girls, women, men. I talk in churches, during any gathering that I find that has an ear for me.
You're also an author.
Yes.
Talk to me about your two books.
The first one is my memoir.
Yes.
Yeah, the title is The Still Symphony. The Still Symphony is about me and the circle that I back on for my success. So
yes,
in the iron part, it has two parts. That's the first book. The iron part talks about me, my resilience, what puts me going, my childhood, and what it has impacted on my future. That is my today. The second book, which I launched last week on 24th,
yes,
at Taita Taveta County, is about unleashing her potential, a woman's arsenal in an ever-changing world. In this one, I now went further and looked at the issues that are around women and what makes a woman excel. It's more of an inspiration when you read it, and I targeted women, but men can read it too, especially men who care to support women. Yeah. So those are my two books, and I'm now working on my third book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just listening to Justinah here, and I'm like, I mean, how and where did it all start? Because I think this is a lot, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
But you know, we can talk about that. We will talk about that. But you see, Justinah is also she's the superintendent. Let me not get the name wrong. At Shimo Bostal Institution.
Yes.
And there are programs that you run there.
Yeah.
And you see, we have a lot of young ones getting arrested because of either petty crime, you know, and they get brought to your institution.
Yeah.
I want you to walk me through one getting arrested, and then when they're brought to Bostal, what happens?
We receive boys direct from court. It's an all-boys institution, aged 15 and below 18 years of age. So the boys that are admissible in our institution are those that are in conflict with the law, those who have committed offenses punishable by imprisonment. But by the time that the court is done with them in terms of processing, they are found to be 15 and below 18 years. So these boys are committed in our institution via a Bostal order, not a committal warrant. That's the difference. For adults, they receive committal warrants to be admitted in our adult prison, but for them, they come in with a Bostal order. So it's a court order that is addressed to me as the in charge to provide training for the boys for a period of 3 years, irrespective of whatever the boy has done. So whatever warrants them to be committed is the age. And the advice to be committed to our institution comes from what you call a committing officer, who is a probation officer who advises the court to commit the boy for rehabilitation for 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So once they are there, we receive them. We have intake officers, the documentation clerks, the social workers, and the human rights officers who interview the boys on admission. And after 2 weeks, we convene a board. We call it a station board, a reception board, where we interview the boys to try and look at the initial report. Because as they are brought in our institution, they not only come with a Boston order. They whatever is attached to the Boston order is what we call the initial inquiry report, and we call it a social inquiry report, or sometimes at the court level they call it the pre-committal report. That is a report that is developed by the probation officer who handles the case in terms of looking at the factors around the boy's delinquency. Then that report now guides us during this meeting. We call it a reception board, where the superintendent in charge is the chair, the section heads, and other relevant stakeholders within the institution. So the boys are interviewed against the report that is provided by the parents, the significant others, and the probation officers, just to confirm the details. The report now will help us to craft what we call an individualized sentence and an individualized treatment plan for the boy. So we look at the factors, the push factors, if which is something around psychological or what do you call issues about the boy's should I call it psychological status or something?
Or mental?
Yeah, mental, not as much, but just psychological issues. Then we craft a treatment plan based on the counseling needs of the boys. Then if it is about skill set, we also allow the boy to take up skills either in the 3 platforms, that is either in the formal education platform where you have CBC, the JSS, and the secondary education with trained teachers, graduate teachers, P1 teachers, and diploma teachers. Or the boy can take up units under the vocational training platform where we have technical trainers posted by the Kenya Prison Service who are our staff, but they hold different levels of technical training, like grade 1 in masonry and the rest. So under that platform we have 16 units. Then the 3rd unit is the agricultural unit, which handles 5 units. So the boy can choose from either. What guides us is a model which was developed. You can check in your whatever. It's a model that is called R&R model, developed by 2 scholars called Andrew and Bonita. So under this model, we look at the risks of reoffending, the needs of the boy, the criminogenic needs, and then the responsivity part. So we use the 3 now to analyze the boy during reception boards, for us now to place the boy in the part or the area that he fits best.
So pretty much we're looking at it's a prison, but it's different from the adult prison.
It's a juvenile facility.
We call
them youthful facilities under Kenya Prison Service.
We are talking about what happens when you get admitted to Shimo Boston Institution. They deal with juveniles 15 years and below 18 years. Yes. So if you're listening in and maybe umepatikana kwa shida, alafu umepelekwa huko, this is what you need to do. Ama ulipatikana kwa shida, ama utapatikana kwa shida. These are the processes. Justinah, you've talked to us about stage 1 of getting admitted. What is step 2?
Step 2, sasa tulikaa na huyu mtoto tukamsikiza in what we call a reception board meeting. So tunamwalau achague. Anachagua ile cause anaweza fanya, but of course we are there to advise the boy. The UN Convention of the Rights of the Child of 1989, in its 4 principles, 1 states that the opinion of the child counts. So it is under this that we allow the boy to speak to us, tell us what pushed him into that crime which he committed, and then help him now to craft a treatment plan that is around how to now protect the child from recidivism or recommitting the crime. So we help this boy to either take up units, courses. Of course, there must be hand skills or education. So as I mentioned earlier, the three platforms might absorb either or absorb any of the boy, depending on the last part. I mentioned about the Andrew and Bonita model that has the risks, the needs, and the responsivity. So the last part, the responsivity deals with the ability of the boy. So if the boy, say, dropped from school at an early age, say, saizi mnajua hakuna primary education. So any boy standard 8, standard 7, that means hatuna hiyo platform saizi. So we allow them to choose from the vocational training platform, which has 16 units, as I mentioned. Kuna hairdressing, kuna pastry, kuna masonry, kuna carpentry, kuna a lot of things, including motor vehicle engineering, motor bicycle, hizo zote.
So si jela. Vina kusikiza ukizungumza ni kama nimeenda boarding school for 3 years.
Yeah, it's an integrated school. That's why we call it Shimolatiwa Boys Education Center. So ama anaweza chukua units and agriculture. Also hizo zinaweza chukua hata standard 3. And I want to appreciate the government of Kenya kwa sababu hawa watoto, they're even allowed to take up national examinations under NITA. The National Industrial Training Authority allows us to register hawa watoto na wafanye grade 3, grade 2, grade 1. We have that waiver. So when now they choose this, now we go to step 3. That is now the implementation part.
Just before the step 3,
yes,
on formal education. Kwa mfano huyu ako form 1. You said ni 3 years.
Yes.
So ameingia ni form 1 pad. Alafu what next?
Akiingia form 1, and something that you should understand is that still under the international standards on juvenile justice, we have the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which is the mother law of 1989. We have Beijing rules and Havana rules. All of them state that institutionalization of a child should be the last resort. So kitambo mtoto aletwe kwetu, ameng'ang'ana na huko vijijini, shule wamejaribu akashindwa, probation pia wamemfunga nje ameshindwa, so ndio maana analetwa kwa. So it's the last resort. Na hata akiletwa for 3 years, again the Postal Act chapter 92 laws of Kenya and then the international rules allows us to release this boy early. So the boy si lazima akae 3 years. After 1 year the boy can be reviewed.
Yes. So if you're actually good, kama tabia yako imekuwa nzuri, umechange, umebadilika, you can be released mapema.
Yes, there's what we call through care guidelines, which now connect the prison institution with the probation and aftercare services, who now are the committing officers and the supervising officers. And I'll explain this briefly. When a child is committed at Shimolatiwa Boston Institution, after 3 months, I write a report. We call it Progress Report 1. About this child, vile amekuja, tumemfanya induction, amechagua unit gani. So ninatumana hii report kwa the committing officer mwenye alidevelop ile report yenye nilitaja, social inquiry report. So namueleza kama mtoto amekuja, hata vile alikuwa akona shida, siku hizi ako hata msafi, vitu kama hizo. We have a template yenye huwa tunajaza. So hii report ikifika kwake, anatuandikia report, ni kama anatureply. So there's a lot of communication back and forth. So hiyo akini reply inaitwa environmental adjustment report. How has the environment been adjusted? When a child commits an offense, akienda kotini, huwa hafunguliwi file moja ya criminal yenye amefanya the crime. Kuna ingine inaitwa the care and protection file, ambaye sasa tunaangalia the issues around, was there a parent that was involved, kuna laxity, was there parenting issues, was there something about drugs and abuse in the school. So all these factors, they entail the environment yenye mtoto alikuwa. So when we talk about the environment adjustment report, the probation officer reviews zile factors zenye zilipush mtoto kwa crime. Kani shuleni, kani nyumbani, ana review. So ananiandikia pia mimi, anani reply with a report, the first report. Then 7th month I also do a progress report. Mtoto anaendelea vizuri na yeye pia ananiambia. Haya, 9th month pia ananiandikia the third. So kama hizi reports zote ziko what we call congruent, as in my report is positive, environment is positive,
yes,
now we request for the final home report from the probation officer, who now advises that huyu mtoto kama amesoma hiki na hiki as per the superintendent, na nyumbani wazazi wamebadilika, vile walikuwa wanamwacha peke yake, maybe mtoto alikuwa anaachwa peke yake ndio maana anakuwa truant, wamerudiana nini hivyo kitu kama hiyo, ama aseme tumetafuta alternative place mtoto anaweza enda, cause maybe according to him or her,
yes,
anaona hiyo environment has change, so anatu advise. So at the 12th month there's a meeting that sits,
okay,
a board that sits, this board is called a board of visitors, which is chaired by the PS in charge, the principal secretary in charge of correctional services. So when this meeting, this body imeketi, I present all these cases za watoto wote wamemaliza 1 year. Kumbuka walikuwa wamekuja 3 years.
Yes.
So kama wamebadilika, they can be released. We call it released on license. Okay. So wanaenda nyumbani with what we call a license. Hii license iko na conditions. Kama mtoto alikuwa, according to the social inquiry report, alikuwa mtoto wa madawa, anashikana na bad company, hawa anaitwa pro-criminal peers, ninaandika hapo, asipatikane hapo.
Yes.
So when the board now approves, sasa mimi I now release. So anaenda nyumbani. Anaenda wapi? Mahali penye pameamuliwa na huyu probation officer, lakini atakuwa under supervision ya huyu probation officer.
Okay.
Mpaka afanye amalize hizo 3 years plus 1 year. Wanaitanga plus 1 year ama plus kulingana na vile mtoto ana respond. So vile ameniuliza nao as per swali ya ndugu yangu, atakuja ingie form 1, maybe by form 2 atakuwa ni mtoto amerekebika. Remember, incarceration should be the last resort. So the boy can go home. Okay. After that, sasa wazazi wanaweza msupport kama wako na issue ya kushindwa kumsupport kwa shule, ama labda atatolewa kwa shule. Normally the probation department deals with that. I'm sorry I cannot comment on them because my work is correctional. As much as I know some details, allow me not to go that far.
That's okay.
But at least tunamhand over kwa probation officer. So mtoto anaendelea na shule. Just like akikuja aliendelea na shule from home, based on the report. So there's a lot of back and forth communication between me and the probation officer, who is the committing officer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now take us to
now step 3.
Step 3, yes.
Is about implementation. So in this implementation, actually explain.
Nimesikia.
So tunaandika hizo reports, mtoto anakuwa monitored, kama ni shule anaangaliwa. Pia kuna kitu tunaita psychotherapy. This one is continuous. From the day mtoto amefika, anaongeleshwa vile atainduct him or herself as well, yani na mazingira pale, the rules, what to do, not to do, offenses, the punishments, kwa sababu tuko na postal punishment zetu na disciplinary procedure zetu, hizo zote. So hiyo counseling ya kwanza, akifika hapo katikati, maybe mtoto ako kwa class but a concentrate.
Yes.
Also the psychotherapist anaingilia hapo. So we have a whole department called social welfare with a directorate at our headquarters who follow up the children psychotherapy in our institution. So it's continuous, inaendelea. Another thing that is continuous also from step 1 to step 3 is the parental guidance. Article 5 of the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child allows us to protect and to advise the children within the best interest of the child. So as an institution, we hold academic clinics, we hold family focus groups or conferences where we allow the parents to come and discuss the progress of their children, how they are taking up the model that we developed in step 2.
Okay.
So after that now we move to step 4. Sasa huyu mtoto kama ni ule mzuri, kama ni ule haendelei vizuri, of course ata stagnate. And then within our structure as Kenya Prison Service under Chapter 92 laws of Kenya, we have a way we monitor progress ya discipline ya mtoto within the institution, and we call it the juvenile progressive system. This one has grades. So when a child ameingia up to 2 months, anaiko to grade 1. Grade 1 ni wale wageni kabisa, so we put them under somebody to mentor them within the houses where they sleep. We have a family model because kuna watoto wenye wamecommit hizi offenses according to the social inquiry report because of a dysfunctional family. So within our institution tuko na model mothers, who are senior officers, wenye tumeattach hapo, model fathers who are senior NCOs, and even a family. So we teach the boys, especially wale wamekuwa kwa street, hata wajui mama nani. So we also have those models, so anakuwa monitored. So kuna mtoto yule atacommit offense na atakuwa processed according to our laws, na apatikane kama ni mtoto amechapa mwingine, ameibia mwingine kitu. Mtoto akifanya hivyo na akuwe process, apewe haki yake ya kujitetea, na apatikane amekosea, hawezi move from grade 1 to grade 2 kwenda huko juu. So ata stagnate ama ata take longer in one grade. But grade 1 is 2 months, grade 2 is 2 months, grade 3 is 2 months, which is a total of 6 kama mtoto ameenda vizuri. Alafu akitoka hapo ana progress to what we call probation blue, which is between 6 months and 9 months. Then anaenda full blue, which is 9 months to 12. So a boy who moves from grade 1 to full blue to full blue ambaye sasa ni 12 months, huyo mtoto hajafanya makosa along the way na anaenda swiftly 1 year ameenda nyumbani.
So tell me, let's talk about nimemaliza.
Yes.
Nimekaa hapo 3 years.
Yeah.
Nimemaliza. Now I'm going out, I'm going to the outside world.
Yeah.
This is all new because 3 years is also a long time.
Yeah.
How do you help them adjust to the environment around them
when they are released?
Yes.
We believe as correction officers that reintegration of an inmate, whether a child or an adult, starts from the time someone is committed in prison or in a juvenile facility. So for us, Shimo Boston Institution, we allow the boys, number one, to continually communicate with the family through calls or even through the probation officers. And also I mentioned about the reports that you write, the progress report, environment. So there's a lot of communication. That's to remind the community that the boy is not here forever. The boy will go back home. That is one way. The second way is in our programming. We ensure that our programs are commensurate, that's the word, to what is offered in the community, so that the boy can slide into the programs in the community. So if we talk about the formal education, the CBC, the JSS, and the secondary school education, we use the normal curriculum.
Okay.
Right now we have 21 boys who will sit their KCSE examination.
Oh, wow.
And they have been prepared by teachers who are graduate teachers. And I want to sincerely appreciate the county government of Mombasa for helping us to have the teachers to patch up, because we don't have adequate teachers.
Yeah.
As I'm speaking now, we have teachers who have been seconded to us by the TSC, county government of Mombasa, and they are supporting our teachers to prepare the boys and even teach other classes. And they are volunteers. They have been supported by the TSC. And a big thank you to Tech Kids Africa, who are now footing their fare to and from the institution so that they can prepare our boys. So why? This is to help them not feel like they are excluded. The same teachers who are teaching Mama Ngina, who are teaching Joho Secondary, who are teaching Shimo High, who are teaching, are now coming in to support them.
Okay.
That is the second. The third one is that prior to their release, we have pre-release programs. And as I mentioned earlier, I wish also to appreciate that Tech Kids Africa have a program which we offer to the vocational and agricultural training unit students. The Tech Kids Africa have a digital literacy program where they help our boys infuse the hard skills which are from the trained in those other platforms like carpentry and whatever, to help them infuse IT so that they can design and do the
habari za hapa kwetu pwani sana
7th August. This month actually we graduate 25 boys from a digital literacy class which was facilitated by one Mr. Mohammed, who was seconded by Tech Kids Africa by Paul Akwabi, the CEO. And the boys are very excited, as in they can now develop their own robotics, there's web development, the mobile app development.
Yes.
And the boys have a lot of experience, the AI and the rest.
So let me they're coming into the outside world.
Yeah.
And I'm done. I've got the training, I've got the skills.
Yeah.
How do I get out there and now start looking for a job?
Okay, thank you. So apart from the digital literacy training, which prepares them to have those street skills commensurate to what other youths have outside there, we have programs like Maisha Skills, Maisha Skills, Jijali, and the rest, which are offered by Nafisika Trust Organization and Tree of Life, and also our own staff. I mentioned about a whole directorate of welfare who train the boys on life skills prior to their release.
Okay,
we have
so
the
it's-
RISE project,
Yes.
also who train them on how to do like meaningful forgiveness, how to go outside there and package themselves, how to do their CVs, how to run their own businesses. So we have several units and life skills training that prepare the boys to face the world outside there.
Have you had success stories of
Yes.
boys who have left the institution and gotten job opportunities out?
Yes, we have
Yes.
so many.
Yeah.
We have boys who have who have pursued their formal education, and right now they're in university. Others are outside there, joined other schools, and they're continuing very well. For the technical and vocational training platform, we have boys who have started their own businesses. Some of them have even joined the armed forces. We had one who came the other day.
Oh, wow.
Is a KDF staff, because one thing I want to tell you is that for juveniles, once they are brought to us, when they leave, they can actually seek jobs and get employed. They don't have issues with the good conduct like the adult prisoners.
Yes.
So that one I really wish to appreciate the Kenyan government for cushioning the boys that much.
Yeah, it is important, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, because at a young age, we make mistakes, and we don't want that to follow us for the rest of our lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
Justinah, just to wrap up, because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
We have young boys listening in, and we don't have to wait for them to be arrested or to be committed to
Yeah.
Boston prison.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
My advice to them is that education is the key to unlock their potential and even to lock their life outside the crime and delinquent life. So for the boys that I've handled, and sorry, you mentioned earlier that I was in charge of Kamai Girls Boso, so I also handled girls. Most of the youths are committing these crimes not because they understand the repercussions. Some of them is out of ignorance, simply because they dropped out of school at a very young age. You see, at say grade 5,
Yes.
you learn about the penal code in its very. So when you drop out of school, like for the previous regime, the education system, standard 3, most of this information about crimes, defilement, the levels and whatever hawajui. So I think ignorance ndio inaingiza youth kwa shida nyingi, including drug use. Kuna mwingine anasema hata nilikuwa tu nauza hata sikuwa natumia.
Yes.
And I think that ignorance of the law ndio inasababisha. And I want to tell the youth, this is not something kwenda kutafuta mbali. Our phones, instead of using that time ya the MB zenye uko nazo ama internet kuangalia vitu zenye hazifai, just go and browse the penal code and push factors on youth delinquency ama child delinquency or the rest, na utaelewa zile vitu zinawapush. With experience, I think dysfunctional families ni unakuta, like the boys that we handle are that age of adolescence.
Yes.
According to Eric Erikson model of psychosocial development, they fall between the 12 to 18 years, and this is the time that people are looking for identity versus confusion, confusion. So unakuta when a youth is looking for kutafuta identity,
Yes.
they think the best thing they think ni kurebel, maybe
Yes.
rebel against the religious practices zenye wamefundishwa, hiyo kutafuta tu identity, like natakuwa unique. But unakuta in that uniqueness, some of them wanaingia katika hawa pro-criminal peers ambao sasa wanafundisha wrong things. And you know the value that is in this age bracket of 12 to 18 adolescents is fidelity. So unakuta yeye hata kama wale pia wake wanamfundisha vitu mbaya, because of that fidelity, that value that is related to this stage according to he Eric Erikson model, yeye anang'ang'ana tu hata kama anafuta bangi anafuata. At one time unakuta pia yanaingia hapo just because of that kutafuta identity, role confusion comes in, and then the fidelity, they follow the wrong people. I think that's the bigger issue. Other issues come in. Most of the time mi waambia watu, It's not about usiangalie external. Wewe mwenyewe ukijisafisha hata kama choo ni chafu, ukitoka bado utanukia mzuri. It's not about the toilet yenye uliingia. It's about you and yourself. You can really build your own ark and stay there like Noah and have your unique life, even if watu wanasema mayouth wa Mombasa wameharibika. You can build your own ark that you say, mimi natakuwa drug free na niendelee na maisha. That's the advice I can give to the youth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justinah. That is such a that's $1 million advice.
Thank you.
You can also check us out on social media at Swahili Pot FM on both X, Facebook, and Instagram.